Hello viewers, I'm Ian Bennett and welcome to In the Hot Seat. Today we'll be talking to Robert Miller, the new Member of Parliament for the St. Catherine Southeast constituency. So join me inside the Clique Bar and Grill on this mission of discovery to find out just who is Robert Miller. So here we are with Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller, you are relatively new on the scene, right? Here to make your mark, right? And what our viewers would like to find out is, they really want to get to know who is it that is there, because not everybody would have had probably direct contact with you. All right. So I have a couple of questions here that should give persons an idea as to who Mr. Miller is. Okay. All right. First one. What would you consider your first call of duty? What is it that you would be doing right off the bat since you're just in? How many weeks now?
Well, it's nearly 100 days. Well, today is actually 100 days, actually.
Okay.
Let me thank you for having me on this program.
All right.
One of the first things that you'd want to do as a young politician, representation politics, is to ensure that you serve the people well and that you're there for the people, and to ensure that you represent their views in the House of Representatives and read act before you approve them or disapprove them.
All right.
Ensure that they enhance lives.
Okay. So your first call of duty, or what project, or what you're saying, give us a clear understanding of what that would be.
Well, I really want to ensure that Southeast St. Catherine is a better place than where I found it, in terms of representing the people, in terms of being there for the people, in terms of being accessible to the people. I want to ensure as well that, I develop the infrastructures that are in place, in the constituency, improve on what is there, and come up with new ideas as to how to enhance lives in Southeast St. Catherine.
So when you say access, is there like a particular day or that some of your constituents?
The truth is I'm in the constituency every day, apart from Tuesday, when, I have Parliament on Tuesdays. But my constituency day is on a Thursday. However, I try to be here every day to ensure that I'm in the communities, meeting people, not just back down in the office, but although I'm in the constituency, but I'm all over the place, getting to know people, trying to introduce myself to people, because some people of a fact wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to get to know who I am before the election, because it's a very big constituency. Yes. So I still continue, in meeting people and putting my words out there and accessible to the people.
When was it that you decided, when was it that you took an interest in politics?
Well, I've always taken a leadership role from school days, from primary school, Bridgeport High School. I was a prefect there as well. And at church, I'm always involved in leadership. When I went to university, my undergrad, Northern Caribbean University, I was involved in leadership up to the highest level of student government president for Northern Caribbean University, United Student Movement, Jamaica Union of Tertiary Student VP. It wasn't my intention to enter representational politics, but then the rest is history. Here am I, and I remember my first campaign that I worked on was 2001 with the late China Robinson at the by-election. And from then, I had a passion, to serve the people. I had a passion for representational politics. And hence, I'm here today.
All right. So it's not yesterday?
No, it's not.
All right. What was your first paying job? Something that you would have looked on as in a professional way?
My first paid job was when I left high school. And I really wanted to find a job to send myself through school, and to do over some subjects, because, when I went to primary school back then, it was common entrance. And I wasn't recommended by my teachers to sit the common entrance in grade 5. I went to grade 6. And then in grade 6, I was not recommended as well. And my teacher basically, my grade 1 teacher navigated the system on my behalf and spoke to my grade 6 teacher, who allowed me to sit the common entrance. Back then it's common entrance, and I proved my teachers right. I did not pass the exam. So I was clammed up for space and then got a space at Willowdene High School in the first form. My grandmother was paying the tuition, died. I had to find an excuse. I came to Bridgeport High School, never regretted it. My first job after graduating from Bridgeport High School was an accounting clerk, with Horizon Merchant Bank at the time. It was a 1-month job. And then after that, I got a job through Artrust NTA, the internship program, for 6 months at Portmore Shoppers Fair, in the accounts department as an accounting clerk. So that was my first job, so to speak. After that, I started doing security guard, at Kingston Wharf. And then I left that work and went to university.
Well, you show a level of perseverance, which is an important element nowadays when things might not go how you would like it.
Yes.
All right. Admirable. All right. What is something big that you probably had a perception about and your mind may have changed about it? Something I really want to get, probably a moment of epiphany where you were thinking along a particular line and your mind changed. You're trying to make the people get to know Mr. Miller,
I think one of my plans growing up, I wanted to become a medical doctor.
Okay.
And I remember going to Spanish Town Primary. As boys, we used to play during the break time. And I remember a boy who was in a grade class as mine fell on the ground and burst his head.
Okay.
And I saw blood. And that basically changed my mind totally. And then, after fact, I wasn't good at the sciences. So I don't think that would have worked. Then I wanted to become a lawyer. But then when you're a little boy, you ain't going to church. And the church people say, if you turn lawyer, you're not going to heaven. That's the worst thing you can hear. So I defer my actions from becoming a lawyer. I started recently, 2 years of University of London, and I failed land law. First I've ever failed a course at the tertiary level. And it was a culture shock to me, but then I have somewhat detoured, from the law degree and started a PhD instead. So those were the two major things in my life that I really wanted to become somewhat with a detour.
Okay. Well, let's not consider it a detour. Just that you decided that this path would be better served.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have you ever experienced or seen, locally any levels of injustice, whether to you or something that, you would have gotten very emotive about? Or
Yeah, definitely. I think I try to be very low key. It's kind of not possible because of the structure at times of my physical structure, but I try to be as low key as possible. I believe in life that we should give everybody the best service we can give. I'm a trained teacher by profession. I lecture marketing, and I'm big on customer service. So I deserve customer service, and I believe that I should get good customer service. I think I've been leveled with a lot of injustice growing up. Back in university, I was in the market one Friday. I was president for the student government, and police officers came in there and they were beating an Igla. I got certain blows out of the baton. And when I spoke to the man, he was very disrespectful, shoved me, and I went over the police station, to file a report. When I went to the police station, the officer that came to me, woman constable, I don't remember her name right now, came to me and said, "Mr. Miller, you're arrested and charged for assaulting a police officer." After I went there to give a report. So I went through the full force. I went through the courts. I got myself a lawyer. I eventually got station bail that day. And I went through the courts.
So you were reporting, just for the sake of the viewers, you saw an injustice being meted out to someone. You, as a normal civilian or someone concerned, you spoke up.
Not really. It's just that I was in the market and I experienced injustice.
Mm-hmm.
And while in the process of the police officers giving blows to some of the igglers that were there, I got 2 hits from the batons.
Okay.
So I went to the police officer trying to say, hey, be very careful. I got some blows,
Mm-hmm.
And the police officer shoved me. So I went straight over the police station. I got his batch number, went straight over the police station to file a report. And while filing the report, that's when a female police officer came to me and said, Mr. Miller, you're arrested and charged for assaulting a police officer. Even last week, for example, somebody hit in my car. And I stopped at a police station and to give my report. And the officers that were on duty, after interviewing me, where do I live? Where the accident happened. Like they wanted to tell me why I didn't report at the police station down there. So I said,
but you can report it at any
and
police
that's what I told
station.
him. And I said, I'm here to report to report to the police the accident that just occurred. And I'm not leaving until I report the matter. So they asked me about it. I told him that the taxi driver decided to take liability. So then they said, no, there's no need to report it. It's a waste of time, waste of energy, and waste of effort. I said, no, I'm here to report it, and I'm not leaving until I report the accident. I'm there to report an accident.
As a citizen.
And as a citizen, exactly. So I immediately took out my JP ID, and I showed them and told them never again, if anybody should come here, that they should try to encourage them not to report this accident. So, they went through the full amok. They decided that I need to take a breathalyzer test, and I complied. It's their routine, it's their policies. But, those are some of the injustices that one will face.
If your time in office only gives you the chance to tackle one issue, what would that one issue be?
Southeast St. Catherine is plagued with sewage issue. It's a serious issue, right? I'm big on education, skill training, etc. Green parks and areas like those. But if I can, fix those sewage issue in Southeast St. Catherine, that would be, a landmark for me as a member of parliament in Southeast St. Catherine. The next issue as well is the dust nuisance. We have a lot of dust nuisance all over the place, and it's really bad in terms of, it's not healthy for some of the residents.
Understood.
And if I can turn this dust bowl, especially right in front of Pomor Mall, in a state-of-the-art recreational center, then half of my work would have been complete.
Or at least the main one of the big issues as far as you're concerned. Have there been any occasion where you had a perception about something and you're going to deal with it a particular way, and your staff may have asked you to, change and not do it that way, or giving you advice? A moment when you can really say your staff.
Yes, I would have a plan, right? And I will come forward with my plan.
Okay.
But say, for example, I want to build a state-of-the-art, recreational center for that dust nuisance that they call the climate park. If I want to create that state-of-the-art recreational center, something similar to that of Emancipation Park and more, but then Passage Fort Citizen Association is not in agreement with it. They say, listen, we don't want a recreational center, we want a mini stadium.
Okay.
Then I have no problem. If the citizens want that, then I have to comply. So yes, I will have my ideas, I will have my beliefs, but I listen to people and get their views as well.
What is that song that you would consider your song when you go to a karaoke?
All my life, Casey and Jojo.
All right.
I used to sing that song basically every night at karaoke.
Okay.
When I used to sing back in those days.
All right. So the viewers can have an idea, because I think, yes, I know which song that is. I know which
Yeah,
song.
man.
If your life was a movie, who would play you in that movie?
Denzel Washington. I think he's very precise. I think he's, a very good actor. And some of his movies are, very informative. And I really like Denzel Washington as an actor.
Not to delve too deep in who Mr. Miller is, but is there a habit that you'd like to change about you?
I think I take on people problem onto myself. So, I was speaking to my wife about it also. Persons will come in the office and they will tell me their problems.
Okay.
And they will start to cry, and then I start to cry in front of them. So, that's something that I really, and sometimes people problems really depresses me, because, a lot of persons out there are living, in uncomfortable circumstances. And we wouldn't know. That's why I try to assist as best as possible.
All right. We being a little personal again. How many hours of sleep do you
Try
think
to get 8.
you try to get 8?
Try to get 8.
That sounds like you're not getting there, but you're trying.
No, but I try. I try to get 8.
Okay.
And one of the issues, I can't sleep at days.
Okay. So from light is on.
From light is on, and I wake up as early as 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So,
Give me a question that you think every politician or every candidate, every politician should have to answer.
Well, every politician would have to answer to the people.
Okay.
That's the main thing, every 5 years. And I think the people need to start holding their leaders accountable.
Okay.
And yes, we will come to you for your vote, but hold us accountable, to do the work. So have I served the people well? Was I good in my promise to the people for the first 5 years? Have I enriched lives, with my services? So we are really answerable to the people.
Okay. You have already been in for 100 days. Well, as of today. Give us an idea, the viewers, an idea of some of the. I have your 5 last social work projects since you have been in. I know it's not a lot of time, but off the top of your head, no, you don't have to give details.
I've assisted a lot of persons with tuition grants, for tertiary education. I've assisted a lot of persons with getting into heart programs. I've assisted a lot of persons in starting their own businesses. I gave an individual, a grant to start his or her business. And, the person came back to the office yesterday and to show me where their business is currently.
Okay.
That brings joy to my face to know that somebody is actually going out there, and making good of themselves.
Okay. All right. That's 3 though. That's 3. You have 2 more.
Try to clear some green areas, turn it into parks, for children especially to play.
Okay. Give us an idea of one of them. Where?
One of them is in Garveymead,
Okay.
where we clean the green area. And one is in Westchester, I want to complete it soon.
All right.
Where we clean this park, we put some tables and chairs and some swings, for the young people, so they can go there and tend to relax. I assisted the Waterford Primary School as well with some painting of their building. And I'm in the process of assisting them to fix their roof because the roof is leaking. Also I've assisted the Bridgeview Community Citizen Association by providing paint so they could paint their community center. So stuff like those are some of the stuff that I'm doing. Because of COVID-19, I really can't do much, but I've had many viral meetings, meeting with the citizens and meeting with the residents.
When would have been like your last community meeting, town hall meeting, something like that?
It was last Saturday night. I had one last Saturday night.
Where?
Independent City.
Okay.
Independent City.
As politicians, one would always have other politicians, whether local or abroad, that you know, you consider iconic, or that you consider good enough persons to emulate. So what I would like to find out from you is, give me two living and two dead international politicians that you admire.
Admire Margaret Thatcher for the person she is.
Okay.
She's a very good leader.
All right.
And I admire also Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
He was a very good leader as well, and he has died and incarcerated, for the citizens of South Africa. In terms of living, Vladimir Putin.
Okay.
Because he stands up for his people and give his people, what they want. People might say that, he's a dictator, but apparently he's doing something good in Russia, and persons are gravitating to his style of leadership, and he will fight for his citizens, like Merkel as well in Germany, for the type of leadership that she has brought, to the table, to the citizens of Germany.
Okay. Well, so much for the international politicians. Two living and two dead local politicians that you admire. That should be easier.
Very easy. Edward George Philip Siaga. I've learned a lot from him. As young Turks, as young politicians, he would draw us to the side, and teach us a thing or two.
Okay.
I was privileged when I was a youngster, to being at his feet, getting some advice from him, and before he passed, to, some input from him as to, what I should do, and certain traits that I should take in the political arena.
Okay.
Of course, Shiny Robinson.
Okay.
She's one of them that has been there for us, and she's one of the first campaign that I've ever worked in. And she would teach us a thing or two as young Turks, and how to be there for the people, how to basically serve the people. Without a doubt, a lot of people have a problem with Everall Warmington.
Okay.
But I've learned a lot from him, and how he has treated his constituents and how he has managed his constituency. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the records, the last two elections, Everall Warmington has received more votes than any other member of parliament in the country. Mm-hmm. He has a well-oiled machinery in his constituency, and he knows everybody, and he knows everywhere in his constituency, and does well. So I've learned a lot from him in terms of constituency management. And of course, my political mentor, my chief advisor, being served as his advisor from education right up, the most honorable Andrew Michael Holness. Everything that I know about politics, everything that I know about, the ministry side of stuff, I've learned it from him. And he has been the wings beneath my wings, in terms of pushing me and, encouraging me along the way. But he's a very critical thinker. And I've learned that from him, and he thinks long term.
All right. Well, finally, we're wrapping up now. Give us a message for the youth of Jamaica.
Well, the sky's the limit. Being served as chairman for National Youth Service for years.
Okay.
I've always told youths that the sky's the limit. Strive for excellence. Don't just think of the minute. Think about the mega as how you'd want your life to be, and go for it. There are obstacles that will be in the way, but obstacles will allow you to be stronger, and obstacles will basically push you, to where you want to be. So don't use the obstacles as a distractor to really keep you down, but strive for the top.
Okay. Well, viewers, you heard it here. I hope you enjoyed the interview, and I hope that you got, enough information from it as to who the man, Mr. Robert Miller, is. Undoubtedly, we'll be inviting him back on other occasions and so on to give us some feedback as to what is happening now and even some of the more what he has learned in more than 100 days. All right. So thanks, sir. And I guess this is it now, no? All right. Thanks again.